Welcome to the Not Pop Show. My apologies. It has been a while since I did the Not Pop Show. It's been 4 weeks since the last one, and it should not be that long. I am going to try to do this every 2 weeks. There's so many shows. There's so much cool stuff here at Pop Geek Heaven. I can't keep up, and hopefully you can't either. But what we do at the Not Pop Show is I basically randomly pull stuff off of the shelves of my collection. I tend to be what I refer to with myself, a musical pantheist. I worship at the altar of all. I love so much different types of music. Particular fetishes of mine are definitely early 70s funk, late 60s soul. I have a big fetish for obscure hard rock from 1969 to 78 from all over the world. I was weaned on punk with Iggy and the Dolls and the Stooges. In the early 70s, I was a pretty wacky, young little precocious kid, and so I'm a big 70s punk fan. Progressive rock is a big fetish of mine. I've been spending a lot of time with that of late, alongside, obviously, power pop. But, you know, the list goes on and on. Actually, a big fetish of mine is 20th century classical music. I might torture you guys with a show on that, because I have this theory that classical music might have a huge renaissance here in the not too distant horizon, and arguably it is right now, because a lot of the living composers have been exposed to so many different other musical idioms and styles, like jazz, like blues and rock and roll, that some of that influence is being incorporated into classical compositional structures in classical music, and making it very interesting at times. Would you like to hear about that? Probably not. I'm sorry. It's a little esoteric. But this is what I pulled off. We are going to talk about Bang from the early 70s. Three-Man Army, also from the early 70s. The Stranglers. Star Castle. We're going to put these up together. British Lions and Mott, because they are sort of merged at the hip. And from Northern California, Throw Rag. Let's talk about Throw Rag real quickly. Throw Rag, they were a punk band from Northern California in this last decade. I saw them live 4 or 5 times, and my God, talk about reckless abandon and a punk spirit. They put on an amazing live show. They sound a lot like Social Distortion, Sex Pistols. Actually, they sound more like the Professionals, the post-Sex Pistols band that featured Paul Cook and Steve Jones, and a lot of other sort of punk influences, definitely. What made these guys special was they had a frontman who was a quintessential frontman. Oh my God, this guy knew how to perform. He looked like he was just released from jail. He was tall, lanky, and he looked like he had been on a drinking binge for like 4.5 weeks nonstop without any sleep. He was a scary, nicest guy though. He looked scary, but you talk to him, he's like a sweetheart. But man, when he was on stage, he performed, and he would just prance and preen and prowl, and he'd just jump into the audience. But what also made this band special was that there was a full-time washboard player. Washboard player. How many times have you seen that in rock and roll? Well, it worked. It was absolutely amazing. And there was also a trumpet player, too. So they really did it up. There's a DVD out there that highlights some of what this band was all about, if you are interested. But if you like this type of music, Throw Rag is actually a real find, and I hope you enjoy the sound bites that I put below. Next up, favorite band of mine, Mott. Of course, many of you out there probably are Mott the Hoople fans, as you should be, as we all should be, because they were one of the 70s best rock bands out there. And when they broke up in 1974 and Ian Hunter went off to play with Mick Ronson, which was perfectly fine, because there was great material that those guys made together, the band forged on. And they released 2 records called Drive On and Shouting and Pointing, and they are excellent. Mott apologists, however, tend to not agree with me. I am in a very small minority. This is a much derided band that came out of the ashes of Mott the Hoople, and I have to strongly and vehemently disagree. I've loved this band and think these 2 records are absolutely fabulous. Why? Because there was a chemistry in Mott the Hoople, and just because Ian Hunter left doesn't mean that sort of withered and fell away. No, it didn't. These guys recruited 2 other bands, and they put together this band that absolutely kicked ass. The material was extremely well written, hooky, and just flat out rocked. Both these albums I highly recommend. In particular, Shouting and Pointing, the second one. They are easily available and they've been reissued many times over the years. That band, however, did break up and sort of morph and evolve into, actually I would say devolve into the British Lions, an inferior version of the band. They were definitely petering out. They released 2 records, only one in the United States. The second one, Trouble with Women, came out in the UK. But they did have some very good material on them, and I'm going to include a demo of one of my favorite songs from the first record below. Next up, Starcastle. Told you I was a prog fan. Poor man's Yes. How can we not say it otherwise? If you've heard Starcastle and are familiar with them, you are nodding in agreement. I know you are, because that's what they sound like. But their first 3 records really pulled off and mirrored the instrumentation and the song structure of Yes extremely well. Their best songs were almost every bit as good as the strongest material that Yes was performing in the early mid-70s. Listen below, see what you think. If you are a fan of 70s progressive rock with a little bit of pompy kind of post-glam, a lot of elements of Pilot that you'll find in Starcastle at times too. It's potentially quite revelatory. There's some really good material in those 3 records. My favorite is Fountain of Light, the second record. Citadel, the third one, is also very good, as is the self-titled debut. Next up, the Stranglers. Oh man, this is a dangerous band. I tell you, if you came out of a club, watch it, and came across this band at 2 o'clock in the morning, you would turn around and go the other way. They were some nasty-looking boys, but man, they made some great punk. And their second and third records are the ones that I recommend. No More Heroes, the second, and Black and White is also a fantastic album for the pop sensibility. The songs were, on those 2 particular albums, are the most melodic and hooky in their entire catalog. And I'm going to include 2 of my favorites here for you to check out here below. But if you've not heard No More Heroes and you get the Stranglers or are intrigued and like what you hear below, I think you might find these to be really quite nice little finds if you check out Black and White and No More Heroes. Next up, we have 3 Man Army, which came out of the ashes of a band from the late 60s called Gun that featured 2 brothers, David and Adrian Gervitz. And actually, Adrian Gervitz went on to form a band with Ginger Baker from Cream, actually. After this band broke up, they released 4 records. The first one is the one that I would recommend. This one is called 2 here. It's lots of good stuff on this one. It is just classic sort of plodding but rocking post-Led Zeppelin, early 70s hard rock. This album features a drummer named Tony Newman, who actually went on to play with David Bowie on the Diamond Dogs. I believe he played on the album, but he definitely was on the tour. And when the band broke up, Adrian Gervitz went on to play with the Gervitz Baker Army, which was definitely not a band that you need to actually be looking for. Last up, we have Bang. Don't know enough about these guys. They released 3 or 4 records. Definitely sort of an American poor man's Black Sabbath. Grand Funk definitely happening in a lot of the songs on this album. This is a twofer of actually 3 of their releases that aren't squeezed onto one CD. Definitely not. I don't know why I pulled this one. There's some good stuff on here, but if you do have a fetish, as I do, for early 70s hard rock, this is something you'll definitely want to have on your shelves and dig deeper into, because of the 25 songs in their catalog, there's 5, 6 really, really good songs buried in there. So that will do it. We're going to come in at under 10 minutes here. Oh my God, if you stuck with me, I love you. Thank you for indulging my out of this world crazy, upside down, eclectic music taste. Please leave your comments below and let me know what you think of these records, if you're familiar with them, or if you dug in deeper and you picked up any of them. Please give me your thoughts, and feel free to say, Bruce, you are absolutely high. You don't know what the hell you're talking about, and I'm never going to listen to anything that you say ever again because your tastes suck. That's fine. We can do that. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on the next Not Pop show here very soon.